Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the NFT Morning. Today is October 15, and I'm not with my dear Remy this morning, but I am not alone because I have the chance to be with Stephanie from the TAX Gallery. Hi, how are you, Stephanie?
Hi, John. I'm really good. How are you?
I'm great, great. Super happy to have you today. I think, officially, I believe it's the first time we have the chance to have you at the NFT morning, but maybe I'm wrong. But if it's a
You're
big,
right.
big mistake, I don't know, sometimes, it's like, I don't know how it happened. So I'm really happy and excited to have you this morning. And I'm also extremely excited because we have the chance also to have with us this morning Kevin, the one and the only Kevin Abosch. Hi, Kevin. How are
Good
you?
morning. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So thank you for being with us this morning, and also thank you, Stephanie, because I know you're based also. You're not in Paris. You are in
I'm in London
GMT.
for Freeze. It's a very
GMT.
busy week.
Yeah, it's freezy. Oh,
Yes.
oh, you guys should come to Lisbon. It's my kids literally told me this morning I was not able to sleep. It was too hot. So it's
We're talking about the
Lucky
art
you.
fair freeze, not the temperature.
You freeze, of course. I love that. Hey, of course.
It's
Thank
also
you.
chilly, but not yet freezing yet.
Of course, Freeze London is happening this week. So yeah, actually, a lot of art fair are coming now. Freeze, uh, Art Basel, Paris next week, and this is the topic of the show today. Paris photo. Actually, the second podcast we are doing about Paris photo, as introduced last week. Nina Rohers is for the third year in a row in charge of curation of a dedicated digital sector at Paris Photos, and it's becoming so far the most important example of huge traditional art fair integrating digital art in the center of their curation, and it's been working pretty well, and everybody is very excited about it. And this is why, for the second year in a row, we decided at NFT Morning to interview, I would say, all the galleries, most of the project, that will be exhibited there. And one of them is with you, Stephanie Taex, doing a solo exhibition. Tell me if I'm wrong. Sometimes I just talking,
No,
and
you're
it's a solo
totally right.
exhibition with Kevin Abbott, right?
Yes. So with TAIX, for those who do not know TAIX, we're multidisciplinary platform, but focusing mainly on digital art, working with artists all over the world. We co-produce, showcase, and sell digital art, and do a lot of educational projects around them. Some of you might have heard about Digital Dialogues, which we co-started with Art Basel. And so now we're headed into Paris Photo for the first time, because the lovely Nina Roers and Kevin Abosch talked to us about it. And so Kevin, who we have here with us, is a conceptual artist working across traditional and generative mediums, and most notably photography. You'll know him from his famous photographs or from the potato work, but also delving into machine learning with AI. And I'd say, Kevin, your work challenges conventional notions of identity and value, and posing ontological questions while responding to sociological dilemmas, if that doesn't sound too complicated. But I think what I really enjoyed was your 2024 movie, which you directed, called Am I, which was the first feature film generated entirely using AI, which is really a huge, huge thing. So that's Kevin for your nutshell. Am I correct, Kevin?
Yeah, it's all accurate. All accurate.
Perfect. That's a good start for working together.
That's
So
a
yeah, very excited for Paris Photo. I also feel the timing is a bit more better because October seems so full with Freeze and Art Basel, and it's just like, everyone's fighting for their piece of attention, and November is more chilled, I feel. So really happy that it's happening in November, and we have, still a month to go. So very excited for it.
Okay, that's exciting, and say, yeah, we are pretty early, and it's pretty cool, because we can see that it's working seriously, because you will see during this interview we already have a pretty good vision about what's going to be exhibited there. I wanted just to know, so yeah, tags. I think it's for people who don't know tags, you are of course, everybody is talking about bridging, digital art and, basically traditional world. You really have been working like this. I think, of course, we had the chance to follow what you've been doing also with Marina Abramovic. Uh, you 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 are working. You are doing this work, with I would say traditional collectors, basically.
Yeah, so I mean, we're merging the two. So I think when we say merge the two worlds, besides the fact that it's a curated platform, which was present in Web3, we just took it to a very traditional way of really meeting up with the collectors, with the artists, doing all these sort of, you know, traditional events and sessions and educational moments live, which were not that present back in 2022 when we started in the crypto digital world. And so now we have more and more people joining that model, which is nice. And I think it was for us important to go to places like Art Basel and have a foot in the door there. And now they're opening their digital section in Miami, which we're all very curious to see how that is going to play out. But that's definitely a change that's been happening over the 3 past years. So I feel like all this work we've put in, and other galleries for that matter, is really paying off. And I'm very excited for how digital is finally integrating in the main section of a fair instead of only being at a conference or at a very special separate event off site. So I think that's very exciting. And with Marina, we see that a lot of traditional collectors are opening wallets. A lot of people are getting into what it is to have an artwork registered on blockchain. So I think that's very exciting. But also crypto people, crypto collectors, they're also buying it. So it's a mix of things, I would say.
I see. That's very interesting. And so, yeah, to talk about ethical work. So, this collection that will be exhibited at Paris Photo. I've been reading the description, and okay, this is what I love. Of course, we'll show you also some pieces, but when you start to read a description by a work by Kevin, it's always like, wow, okay, it's the moment you read it, you feel like it's asking more questions at every sentence, and asking you questions basically about, of course, what is art, what is photography, what is now we are in this world, we are talking about post photography, and basically the way you've been describing ethical work, even, is also to explain that basically this series of work is not in a disruption, with traditional photography, but more like an evolution of photography. So yeah, maybe you can tell us a bit more about the
Sure.
concept of ethical work.
Sure. Well, I'm excited too. I'm excited because Paris Photo is a traditional fair. I mean, the people there take their photography serious, to the dawn of photography up to contemporary photography. But you better believe that when you start coming with something called synthetic photography or AI-enabled photography, their guard goes up very quickly. And sometimes without a lot of thought behind it. It's just a knee-jerk reaction to something that they don't understand, or that maybe they're threatened by. And then others have thought it through and still have issues with it. And yet others, like myself, see synthetic photography as an evolution, not. And it's not I don't think it's a diversion or a completely other track from what we might call traditional photography. It's the latest chapter in the story of photography. And this work probably in particular addresses some of the questions and concerns that people have, pretty directly. I mean, I don't know about yourself, but if you see something, a work that's, that the series is called Ethical Work, and you see an image of an ethical object or an ethical composition, I mean, my first question would be like, ethical? Like, one, why is it ethical? How could it be ethical? And whose ethics are we talking about? And that's where, like you say, suddenly the questions start to pop up. And yeah, I'm not big on answers. I'm big on turning one question into 100 questions. And they're questions I have myself. But from the moment, okay, first off, this isn't like I'm not Johnny come lately, playing around with Midjourney. I've been working with machine learning since 1991, 1992. I've essentially been working with synthetic photography. I've been working with AI earlier, but what I would call synthetic photography, which is something built on the DNA of photography, and that still in its final output resembles this thing that we think of as photography. And when I look at that body of work, it takes us from 2015 to present, so a decade essentially, which is nice for a book that I've got coming out the same week, which covers 10 years of my work.
Okay.
And so this work that from around 2024 I actually started to consider, as in response to ethical questions that were posed to me, how my work may or may not be ethical and what I could do to influence it. And so that's I mean, I could go on and on and on. I don't want to take up.
No, but maybe what is interesting, maybe we can describe this, because okay, the typical ethical question, actually, I see, because I'm a very simple and stupid person, so I see two ethical questions.
I know you are. It's so cute. It's okay. Hit me with some ethics.
No, but, the typical ethical question, is about author right. Basically, we're using, you're using a tool like Midjourney or whatever that has been trained on several body of works by thousands of artists, and so basically at the end of the day we are stealing their work, and that's it.
Whoa. Slow down. First off, I don't use Midjourney. Second of all, let's talk about stealing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is where it gets into a fun conversation. So my earlier work, the stuff from roughly 2015 to 2018, all the models that were built and of trained images, those were my own images, right? Proprietary images, photographs that I took. And then moving into 2019 and 2020, when diffusion technology came about, like DALL-E and then later and Stable Diffusion, then it became sort of a hybrid approach where I would work with the public model in conjunction with my own models, right? That would bias and add weight to the model to give me what I wanted. So I think the first line of defense, if you will, against those who might suggest there's some stealing going on, is to have an understanding of how these AI models work. And I think a lot of people think it's like a collage. I'm going to take a nose from a picture you did, John. I'm going to take a background or a tree from an image you did, Stephanie, and I'm going to piece it all together from 1,000 different images, which were stolen from honest photographers, and I'm going to capitalize on that. And that's bad. That's not exactly how it works. It's not how it works at all. These models, bring images, manifest images. The process is much more akin to how we learn what something looks like. And so when I draw, and you say, Kevin, draw me an apple, I draw an apple based on a lifetime of mental images that I've made from apples I've come across. And in my case, I don't know if my model in my head is weak, or maybe my algorithm is just crappy, but my apple doesn't look great, but it does resemble an apple. And I don't know if you're going to look at that apple and say that looks a bit like an apple that I drew, and I'm going to sue you, Kevin, because you must have looked at one of my apples at some point.
Yeah, and that's very interesting. I think it's the first point, and actually, I had the chance to talk about it also with Mario Klingenman last week.
Sure.
You have this famous sentence, actually, that Picasso stole to someone else.
I know what you're going to say. Go say it.
Exactly. Good artist copy, great artist steal. I don't know exactly what
it's misattributed. I don't think he said it, and it's bullshit. Sorry, I don't know if you can say that on public access or whatever.
Well, there you go. It's done. Talk first, question later.
No, but at the end of the day, what I mean is, of course, it's one way to say it, but it's also the point, with art history, but not only art history, everything in, I would say, what we call human common knowledge is always an evolution of something. It's always based on something that is existing. This is what for example, even in the science world, all the big patterns, all the big inventions, you will always find someone that will tell you, yeah, the patterns has been deposited by this guy. Einstein invented he got MC2, but it was based on Poincaré, whatever. So it's always something. It's always something that is in the air, and everybody's working on it in the same time, and so it's kind of, basically also the artists do the same. That it's based on something that is in the air, and then the way you're doing this, the way you push it, the way you're bringing your angle on the work, basically. And so I just try to paraphrase.
I get it. And so look, so this stuff is pushing dangerously close to very sensitive issues for people. Why are they sensitive? Well, they're sensitive. Artists are not unknown for their egos, and so they don't appreciate when their intellectual property there is threatened. And also it's about putting food on the table as well. So there is this there's sort of the suggestion of an existential threat. And so this speaks also to how AI is challenging our value systems in a way that in our lifetime never have been. And also it brings back the issues of copyright and, just because you have an idea, does that mean you're the sole person who gets to exploit it? Copyright's a man-made construct. It wasn't handed down from some deity. And so, these are all challenging concepts. And then when we talk, but that's not, I wish that were the only ethical issue at hand, but no, then you get into how much energy it costs with all the GPUs spinning to generate an image. I don't know which is the leader now in destroying the planet, if it's blockchain or AI. I don't know who's in the lead at the moment, but I think they're on par, sort of.
I see.
If you can believe that's what's going on.
We are the biggest destroyer of the planet right now, and so basically, I wanted to basically to describe the process of maybe also I will share also some visuals, so people can understand.
Describe the process.
Yeah,
well, throw up a picture. Let's start with one for the morning that'll make you throw up your omelet.
No, let's start with cute.
Okay. Oh, we'll start with
one. Not this one.
Okay, maybe this is
cute as it gets, though.
That's a nice. That one is a nice.
Let's start with this one.
That's the one I was talking.
I know you wanted to see this one.
So no, but the reason why is there's a lot going on in there. Like, I don't know how everybody can see, but I mean, for anyone who's worked with diffusion models and generating images via prompts, for instance, I think, I know, because the feedback I get from other artists as well is, how the hell did you make that? I mean, there are a number of ways probably you could come to manifest an image like this, but a day doesn't go by that I don't get a message from somebody saying, Kevin, what the hell was the prompt? And I look at that image and I'm like, well, I mean, what would the prompt be? Would it be a Caucasian who decides to do open heart surgery on himself and now is reclining in some, I don't know. I maybe, perhaps one could design a prompt and it would yield an image like this. But that's not how I work. I don't work like that at all. The prompt is, prompts do come into play sometimes, but it's usually because I create my own LoRa's. We won't get technical, but we're just like little kind of mini models that inform the larger model, and it comes down to like meta tagging, and most prompts are using natural language to engage with the tags that we have in various images. Whether it speaks to the skin tone or the mood or an object or the color, and so I'm working with these tools like we all do, in a loop. And so and this image, I'm guessing, I don't even remember, it's so long ago, but I think I probably started with somewhere around this character's chin, and then I built out from the image in a process, again, to keep it simple, out painting. So I create an area and then I build out. And for me, it's much more akin to sculpting than it is painting or drawing or prompting. I'm not surprised when I generate pieces of an image, because I have an idea of what I want, and I'm not playing a game of generating thousands of images and hoping for a happy accident and curating them out of a series, which is fine, it's valid, and that's good. It's just not how I work. And I don't know, I think we touched on it. I mean, I do have a background in photography, right? So even though there are a few detractors that pop up every now and then on Instagram telling me that I should learn something about real photography and how the work I'm doing is devaluing real photography. I mean, how great is this to be showing at Paris Photo? How great is it to be making this work that's in direct dialogue with the story of photography? And again, I insist, this is the latest chapter in this story, and get to show what I think. Look, I'm a photographer. I am a I usually don't say I'm a photographer. I'm a conceptual artist who works for photography, but with photography. But look, like you, I'm also a photographer. But I have a deep love for the art and the craft of photography. And when I look at an image like this, whether I made it or not, besides the point, I'm like, wow, this is a potent image. It may not be one you want on your wall necessarily, but or maybe it is.
Depends on the person.
It depends on the person. I'm trying to undermine the gallery. Like, why would you put that on your wall? No, but in fairness, we included this. We included this image in the selection that's showing at Paris Photo for a reason, because it's. I think it really speaks. Also, there are some manneristic qualities about this image that do reference aspects of very kind of traditional composition that even goes back to painting and the subject matter, and there's sort of
It's
there's
challenging.
Christian motifs. And,
it's challenging.
Yeah,
It makes you think deeper into like a lot of
absolutely.
topics. Wakes you
And
up. No
and
need
when
for
I
coffee.
go, there you go. Yeah,
Come
it's
straight to
only
Tykes,
first
please.
coffee of the day. When I go to a fair, an art fair in general, not just a photo fair, but an art fair, the only thing I hope for, it's nice to see, some of the iconic images that may or may not be there, a vintage print or something else I just haven't seen in a while, or something I haven't seen in person, to see it in person. But in general, I want to see something where I'm just stopped in my tracks, and people, people are talking to me. I'm like, oh, shut up! Like, let me just look at this thing. What the hell am I looking at? Where I'm in awe of an image, or a type of image, a quality of the image, something thematically that I've never seen before. That stops me for one reason or another, and that is powerful. And that's all I want. So I'm trying to bring images with TX here to do the same.
But this is where you can see also you have a lot of experience with Paris Photo, actually, for example, because I think you coming here for like you came to Paris Photo even before this NFT.
Well, I never showed at Paris Photo because I did spend most of my career telling people I wasn't a photographer, even though I was. And so I refused to show at photo galleries because it was like a ghetto. It was already tough enough. Like I was, that was the funny thing. When I was a young aspiring artist, the first thought, they tell you, well, you got to be in a gallery. So I'm in London going to Anthony Dauphin and White Cube, and I'm going to the top galleries, contemporary art galleries at the time. And two things. One, I was green. I was young and, not ready, but also photography. They're like, photography, what's that all about? And yet at the same time, early on in my career, I had some of the biggest photo galleries in the world courting me. And I just intuitively knew. How I knew, I don't know, but I knew, like, don't do it. Because the moment I go in there and say I'm a photographer, I can kiss the rest of it goodbye, at least for a while. And then, ironically, today there are people who don't even know that I was doing photography. So if my intention was to turn people's attention away from the fact that I was a photographer, it worked.
But I respect you're always going for a difficult medium, like first photography, now,
Right,
so you do
right.
digital, you don't just,
Well,
take a
yeah, it's the
brush and
same
a
thing. We
canvas.
see exactly. So, and here we are, marginalized again, because
We're gonna
people
get
don't
there.
understand. Yeah, yeah.
They
And
will.
so that's what another thing I really like about TX, besides the fact they're intelligent and kind people, the fact that this, I mean, we use that term a lot about bridging between the so-called traditional art world and digital or media art or whatever. Well, I mean, first off, it needs to be hammered in again that there is a great tradition of collecting, or showing, exhibiting media art, computer art, generative art in museums. So that's not new, really. That's really not new. I know, crypto bros might like to think that they're the first champions of art that kind of came out of computers, but they're decades late.
Everything started. Come on, everything started with Fidenza.
I know.
Oh my
Absolutely.
God.
And so that's yeah. But what is happening now, still slowly, and you have to question why that disconnect, to some extent, was always there. I think it's because so many of the artists working with technology, most of them, I would say, were not artists leveraging technology. They were technologists expressing themselves artistically, and weren't, many of them were not terribly prolific. Some were, some weren't. Vera Molnar was prolific. Some others weren't. And I've spoken to a lot of the so-called, the pioneers, and asked them, at what point did you decide you were an artist? And sometimes it's a simple. Herbert Franke said to me that, like, sometime in the '80s, a friend of his was like, "Hey, did you consider that you could call yourself an artist?" And he's like, "Huh, really?" It's like, "Yeah, I think we could sell these things." I mean, I don't mean to. I'm not trying to diminish. He was making art, but it just wouldn't have occurred to him up until that point to present himself as such. And so the disconnect was the language, right? The language of art, the language that the traditional institutions and collectors of art spoke is very different from the language spoken by many of our contemporaries, peers in this so-called space, whatever that is. I love the space. And maybe over time, that language is being harmonized, and I think, but still the big disconnect is, I think, on the one hand, I see a tradition of considering how art moves a person, assimilates into their very being and psyche. And then on the other hand, maybe with generative art, it's more about, like, this looks cool, right? Which do you think is cooler, this one or this one? A or B? Which one should I mint? This one or this one? Like, yeah, okay, that's pretty cool. And it becomes almost like, it's more about design and decoration than how it's going to change your life.
But this is
What I
what,
truly, what I truly find striking is, like, it's Frieze Week, right? Yesterday was Philips opening to the public their collection of art that they're going to auction off, and you have a Bill Viola piece downstairs, which actually is going at a pretty good starting price at 40,000 pounds, and so basically it's already there, the digital downstairs, but I
Bill
still have this
Viola, yeah,
conversation.
absolutely.
I still have the conversation upstairs with one of their sales, for private sales, and she's still asking me, how do you collect digital arts? And I'm so confused
Wow.
because I still see that there is this gap. Maybe it's created by the joke that you just made of, like, the NFT stating that digital art is here now, only from now on, and that people actually, even in the auction houses, are not putting it in one section, the Bill Viola piece, the media art, something that's expressed way before, together with the digital art that's being created now. There's this, like, huge gap, even and so I'm just, I don't understand the question. I told her, like, you have the work downstairs already. What is the question? I don't understand. So it's really interesting. Like the blockchain that entered just disrupted all the knowledge, just like erased it that they have since decades on how to collect media art, and people are just not putting one and one
Yeah.
together. And I feel
Yeah.
that is a job that I'm doing daily, is to explain people how to collect digital art, that you can actually have a very nice frame, hang it on your wall, like there's so many options now. It doesn't have to be an LG or a Samsung. And I feel that there is more need for, collaborations on that end as well. But it's so wonderful to be able to switch around your work. I know I'm talking now behind the classical work, but I feel you have to have both worlds. I come from the traditional world.
And then
So I
the
don't
video
feel the
works we're
digital has to
showing,
replace.
the video works we're showing at Paris Photo. There are 6 of them. There are
Yeah.
18 works in total, and 6 of them are video works, motion works. We've decided to with custom made screens, square screens, really like overbuilt, present it as an object. And for anyone who's like, well, what do I do? Do I need a USB stick? Do I need a media player? Whatever. It's like, here, just take the damn thing and hang it on your wall. The whole, the whole thing. It's just make it easy on them. Because I didn't
Exactly.
realize that it's such a. But of course, it's a problem. Of course, it's a problem. Where do you? Yeah. So we make it real easy for them, and they could just hang the whole thing on the wall, plug it in, and they're ready
But
to
it's
go.
because televisions are perceived as televisions, like things that
That's
you
right.
switch on and you watch
Yeah.
entertainment. It's just a habit. The power of habit is so strong. You can have a very intelligent person in front of you. You can
Mm.
say it in the most clear language, and they will still not understand because they see the television as something that they use for entertainment. So it's just, but that's why the frames that are already have the work easy done, no brainer. Just make it easy for people, like from a sales
Also, the aspect
perspective.
ratio, still most of them are 16:9. So we have square. You're seeing more square, but you don't get the choice of 4:3 and 2:3 and 4:5. You have 16:9 and square basically, and
Yeah, and also
16:9 is
circular. I feel like there's a gap for circular art. I would love to have like round digital works. There's some I saw, like Bitforms had beautiful like round big works, but that's like custom made.
yeah.
But yeah, lots of things to develop there still.
I think also you know better than me because you've been video art has been sold in galleries like maybe for the last 20, 30 years, I would say. People used to exhibit video art in their house the same way they're doing like canvases, like when they've been buying this thing they have okay, with the setup and the USB and whatever. I think this is
Uh,
what, yeah.
I'll give you two examples. So one example, there's a collector couple. It's all Belgian examples, and they used to have this beautiful house, and they would project on the ceiling the digital art the video art that they would buy. They would do this huge events, always during like an art week in Brussels, and everyone would know that on their white beautiful ceiling there would be a digital artwork displayed. That's first example. Second example is a foundation that always opens its doors where you can book an appointment. And they have loads of video arts exposed, like either it's a projection or it's just on a super big screen. Sometimes even like on the, like in the university of this presentation, white sort of like cloths, and then they just project it on there. Like, so different ways. But I also know, I know because we sold to Tykes collectors, for example, Krista Kim or Sasha Styles, and they ask me, they said, like, they ask our team, how do we display this best? Do you think this screen would work better, vertical, horizontal, blah, blah. So it's like a curatorial aspect that Tykes has to fulfill as well, and maintenance and technical support, and it's just part of our service that we provide. Besides the fact that we pre-curate works for them.
But this is why where we may understand the difficulty, for actually I was saying traditional collectors, but even for ourselves, you have a technical we know what it is. We are always afraid of getting at the moment a black screen because I don't know, there's no battery anymore, or the file is not loading. You need to you mentioned the maintenance aspect of it,
Yeah, it's
so.
there, 100%.
And
I mean, even like works, I know, like even Bitforms, who's doing this since way back. before us, they have works that then stop working, you know, because something's changed, like technology advances, like they have to, it's a work that's 20 years old, and then they recontact the
Yeah, you have
artists, and
like
then
a
they
codex
just,
update or whatever stuff like that. Yeah.
that's fun, you know, that's history. Like I have, like, you know, I'm happy when I take my old Game Boy, you know, like, and I remember how it was. I think that's cool, you know, that's how you see that time is passing, you know, it's actually a very tangible thing to see. Whoa, we're actually not rewinding the cassettes anymore, you know, like when we put them in. I think that's cool, that's fun, that shows evolution, you know, that's something to treasure. You know, I think it's part of our society. I think digital art is so interesting. And even now, you know, like with the synthetic photography of Kevin, like I'm very curious what's going to happen in 5 years, because we will live already in a completely different world. And we'll look back to this recording and be like, oh my God, talking about synthetic photography. You know, like, for example, I think that's cool. I think that it's very tangible. You see the evolution of time, of our social beings, or the cyborgs we're becoming. I think it's fascinating.
Oh, that's amazing. And to come back to the work, so basically you mentioned, so you will have 6 videos
And
selected. So you
12
have
and 12 still images.
12 static works and 6 animated ones.
That's right. And
Okay.
4 or 5 of them are 1.5 meters, so you need to have a lot of wall space for them.
Wow, one
and
and
then
a
the
half.
other and then the others are 60 centimeters. They're a little bit easier to handle.
Can we talk
Okay.
about freedom?
Yeah, let's talk about free. Get off
Freedom.
that! Get off
Freedom,
that, guys.
the freedom. That's a
Freedom
work.
is the bird.
Can
The bird.
can you put the
Ah,
bird
the
on?
bird. Okay, yeah, yeah. I was wondering which one was freedom. Okay, okay. Of course. Yeah. Let me show it. Yeah. Is it this one?
Yes.
That's freedom. He's missing. He or she is missing their. They are missing their wings, but um, again, I don't have the answers. I ask the same questions. Like, what type of freedom is this? Is it real freedom? Might be, or is it perceived freedom? And who perceives it as freedom? The viewer? Does the bird see it as freedom? I don't know. Maybe the bird. I can't tell exactly what the bird is hooked up to, but the bird might think it's in flight for all I know.
But
That's super cool.
it's really disturbing. I mean, yeah,
What?
Oh,
because
Yeah, I was
no.
gonna ask you. What do you feel? What do you see?
no, yeah, it's
What do you work for the SPCA? What's going?
Is that your bird?
No real birds were harmed in the production of this
no, no,
image.
but you have this feeling of you have this SPCA feeling like, wow, poor little bird in a way,
But the
without.
bird doesn't look
I didn't know
distressed.
you
I
were
don't
so
think the bird.
sensitive, John. It's not a real
He's a
picture.
simple, sensitive man. He's a simple, sensitive man with high ethical standards.
Exactly. No, yeah. So it's no, but of course, but you have always like I think this is what is interesting also, because you have of course, you're disturbed by you have some cognitive issue. You don't see the wings. You're wondering because we are used to see birds, and on the other hand, this is what is interesting. Especially when you look at his the top of the body is pretty
Polished, beautiful.
yeah, very,
Insects.
is chill
Happy.
basically.
That's
It's
a
like
healthy. That's a healthy bird you're showing me there.
Yeah, if you actually zoom in the head, and then, but that is what's happening in society. Like we all look very happy. We're all like posting our little selfies,
We're all
smiling,
tethered
like
to
life is
devices.
great. We're this part of the
Yeah,
picture. But if you go down to our roots and look at what society, we're all taking antibiotics, we're all have vaccinations, we're all like, a lot of health
yeah.
problems. How many people I know my age in the art industry that are having severe health
That
issues,
no, but
like,
yeah,
stress. So this is really a beautiful representation of what's really happening. So I think it's marvelous. I think, and
no, but
what's wonderful is that that's the interpretation we've now come up across, like in this conversation and at the fair. I'm so curious. I will ask people these questions, like, what do you see? And I think we'll get like hundreds of different answers, because it's also, I think Kevin's work also, as of course, a lot of artworks will reveal what actually is deep inside of you, and what you will associate these images, because there is no clear instruction, is what is going on inside yourself. It's that dialogue between your world, your inner feelings, and what you see, what the artist has expressed. So I
but
think that's very
also it's
interesting.
yeah. What I see is really this kind of post-humanism or whatever we call that. The fact that yeah, you have all these things about
Well,
extending.
we talked about that at NFT at your event in Lisbon.
Yeah.
When 2 years ago, I had already started some work that was sort of the proto work for this stuff, and that was about transhumanism. Absolutely, and not transhumanism well, there are a couple of as we discussed back then. There's transhumanism where you're not just complicit but willfully trying to modify yourself with technology, and then there's this sort of unwitting transhumanism that we're all probably subject to, where we're offloading our ideas to our devices, and then when we need information, getting them back from the device. So we're already, you said cyborg.
Yeah, no, but
is
this
a
is
little,
the thing,
but this is what it's like. We're already part machine, part
I
human.
think my brain is not able to process few simple things anymore because of ChatGPT.
There you go.
It became,
And it doesn't have to, I mean, unfortunately anymore, because you have these things at your disposal, and people are pushing you to use it more and more. Even schools are integrating the use of AI, just with the help of AI, solving, problem solving rather than, just
Have you
copying what's
seen?
written.
I was on the phone with Elon Musk the other day. Did you see my Neuralink? I can just plug this in and
So jealous,
goes straight
Kevin.
in.
yeah.
Lucky you.
I'm beta testing.
But I think it's interesting because this is really what I see. It's like, okay, thanks to computer, you don't need to compute anymore. Thanks to AI, you don't need to do simple tasks anymore. Thanks to deep AI, you don't need to think anymore. At the end of the day, I think it's kind of the thing. At the moment, at the moment, you don't need to get decisions, and so this is where I think the freedom is becoming something. Because if my AI is telling me that this choice is better for myself, maybe I will follow my AI because they tell me that it's better for me. And so it's all the questions about self.
We can discuss this off air, but Stephanie, you might want to chat with John. I think he might be he's a possible collector of freedom. I don't know if he has the wall space, but it sounds like he's warming up to it. And so anyway, I'll let you guys,
and actually,
it's
good. This is what I like, Kevin. It's a perfect transition also for people who are interested to collect works. The best is to contact you, Stephanie. So far, can we already pre-reserve some works, before the
Of
fair?
course you can. Of course, yes. Of course, yeah. You should just reach out
How
to
many
us.
you
And
want?
we'll
How many you
guide
want?
you. How many? Come
Yeah,
on.
let's
Spill.
talk about money. Let's talk. No, but it's only...
I can swap your head with the bird's head if you want. That's called a commission.
I hate I have a really weird image in my head now. So yeah.
You know what? I might have to.
I have it too. I'm sorry. I have to admit, I have it.
If anybody's watching this, feel free to do a face swap with John.
Wow. Well, yeah, that's really cool, and that's really, no, yeah, please, no, it's not out of my head anymore. But just to go through quickly the other works also that you share with us, you will see much more at the exhibition. And I think it's important, because now we are live, we are online, we are chatting about it. But I think the fact of seeing it in the middle of
nothing like it. There's nothing like it. It's. I think from COVID through the last couple of years, we've become especially comfortable, if we weren't already, with just viewing photography on Instagram and on small screens, relatively small screens. There's still nothing like seeing a beautiful, glorious print in person, and instead of having light shot at you like an army of laser beams, you see reflected light off a surface. It's so gentle, and it accesses parts of you didn't even know exist anymore. So there's something to be said about, there really is something to be said about witnessing not just my work but all photography in person.
Yeah, the experience, I can't wait to see it. And I know that you're going from Stephanie from fairs to fairs, but you already have in mind the scenography of the Kevin and Taeg's booth that we will discover in Paris Photo. So basically you will use huge screens for videos and print for photos, right?
I wouldn't say huge screens, but there's
different sizes.
Yeah.
Okay. You will see there's like different sizes for different wall spaces, and yeah, just come by to chat. We'll be super happy to see you. And I think it's important to also underline the date. So Paris Photo will be opening on the 12th of November and will go till the 16th of November. So 12th is a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So there's also visits that you can book in to see Kevin's studio. So check that out on the VIP portal. And then, yeah, we'll be very happy to see you there. I think it will be a vibrant week. I'm honestly more excited for Paris Photo even than for our Basel currently. So
Very excited about it also, that's really we can see actually, it's 1 month from now, but a lot of people are already talking about it, like it will happen, in the next few days. So it's pretty exciting. So yeah, you can already prepare your Paris Photo, everybody, and contact TAX. So we share the Twitter account via Twitter or directly.
Twitter, Instagram, email, very simple, stephanie@tax.com. Any questions you may have. And then, of course, Kevin is also on all the socials, and feel free to reach out.
Photography is having a moment. All photography is having a moment. There's a renaissance in photography.
It's really and I think it's a big topic, and we just scratched the surface this morning, and I really invite you to come and talk much more with Kevin and Stephanie, because it's a really in the box that when you open, there are a lot of questions, and the body of work is really strong. So just wanted to invite you to see and to discover more at Paris Photo, and for everybody else following us every day, I just wanted to let you know tomorrow we're going. This is what I love at NFT Morning, going to a total different world. Tomorrow we have a guest talking about payments with crypto, and so we have
is it MoonPay?
It's a Kulipa. That is something that it's a credit card system that you can pay directly from your Ledger wallet without using any bank or whatever like this. So it's
Kulipa. Okay.
Kulipa. I think it's a big
very relaxing name. I feel like I'm having
it's a
spa
big deal.
moment.
It's a big deal. It's pretty huge. Huge.
It sounds if you had an upset stomach and you took some Kulipa, it probably. You'd feel better afterwards.
You should come back tomorrow, Kevin, to talk about it.
Maybe they can hire me as their head of branding or something.
Actually, we know that you could do it also, because
you have. And you could generate an image with it as well. So I think I see collaboration coming, Kevin.
And actually, that. But it's working very, very well, and so I invite you to. It's also part of. This crypto world changing, and to come back to Paris Photo Monday next week on the 20th of October, we have the chance to have Avant-Galerie Volsen, so Albertine and Caroline Vossen, and we'll have the artist Norman Arman, and you will discover more next week, but it will be also super interesting, and it's also a huge work actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John, for having us. Wonderful conversation.
Thank you for being with us this morning. I wish you, have a great day and good morning.
Happy